Are we still an exceptional country? I'm Alan Barton. Stand by for the front page.
This country has more wealth than any nation, but that's not what makes us rich. We have the most powerful military in history, but that's not what makes us strong. Our university, our culture, are all the envy of the world, but that's not what keeps the world coming to our shores. What makes America exceptional are the bonds that hold together the most diverse nation on earth. The belief that our destiny is shared, that this country only works when we accept certain obligations to one another and the future generations, so that the freedom which so many Americans have fought for and died for comes with responsibilities as well as rights, and among those are love and charity and duty and patriotism. That's what makes America great.
And that's why it says that in the Declaration of Independence. Love, what was it?
Love, duty, charity, and patriotism.
That's, you know, that's what it said. He's got it down. That's good. Yeah. That was the president speaking about American exceptionalism in his victory address this November. Only another 4 years of listening to that stuff. Joining me on set to discuss, Terry Jones, Associate Editor of Investors Business Daily, and Doug ALTNER, Instructor and Analyst at the Ayn Rand Center for Individual Rights. Before we start, I should explain, we're going with the Charlie Rose look today because we're upgrading our hardware, we're upgrading our software, we're upgrading the personnel. The director is having an entire new personality installed, and it's all going to be in 3D when we come back, and the ideas are going to pop out at you with just an incredible sense of visceral excitement. Doug, why don't we start the discussion here? What do you find interesting or perhaps horrifying about Obama's view of American exceptionalism?
Yeah, horrifying is the right word here. And I find it horrifying because this is the complete opposite of what actually makes America exceptional. What made America exceptional is this was the land and liberty. For the first time in human history, this is a land where every single individual has the right to his life, to his liberty, and to the pursuit of his happiness. This is not a land of shared destiny. This is not a land of shared sacrifice. This is not a land where we have unlimited obligations to our neighbors and to countless people in the future. Because if you have to shoulder everyone else's burdens, you have to pay for other people's mortgages, for other people's health care bills, other people's kids' student loans. You have to bail out your neighbors' companies so you can save their jobs. You don't actually have the right to pursue your happiness, because your happiness has to come second to all these other things, and all these other needs are going to keep on growing and growing. So it's the complete opposite of what actually makes America exceptional.
Well, I think for his third autobiography, by the age of 53 or 55, whatever it's going to be, you know, the audacity of audacity. I mean, to go right up against the phraseology of the Declaration of Independence and alter those words at the pretty much at the last second, and turn it into what? Love, obligation to one another, patriotism. I don't know.
Love,
what?
Charity,
what?
and
love, charity, the shared obligation. I don't know what it was. Patriotism. What? What?
Well, and the thing is, you know, he made this wholly erroneous, and anyone who's read any history will tell you dead wrong, assertion that this is why people come here and see us as a beacon, because we all have a shared responsibility for one another. No, that's not. They see us as a place.
They come from places where all that shared responsibility is oppressive BS that can't get them. They can't get anywhere ahead.
It's foisted on them. Ask somebody who comes from the former Soviet Union how they feel about shared responsibility. Ask somebody who comes from China how they feel about shared responsibility.
My father-in-law, I've told this story before, I'll tell it again because every once in a while I got to tell it, but my father-in-law is Korean, came over at age 40 with his wife and 7-year-old daughter. And I remember at one point I asked him, I said, what was it? What did you want to come here for? And he said, America, the only place in the world where you work hard, you make money, you keep it. You do what you want. That was pretty much as simply as he says. He goes, it's the only place in the world where you work hard, you make money, you keep it. You do what you want. And I feel like that's what people should be knowing America for. And that this definition is just kind of this crazy thing, and they all applaud. Everyone applauds. It's a feel-good election, man. It's all emotions. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's a real tragedy that people are losing that American spirit that you described with your father-in-law. I think with hundreds of years of this, people have come to accept a life of much substantially reduced liberty than what people had in America's founding. Can you imagine Thomas Jefferson, who liked to remodel his home periodically, have to wait weeks for some government inspector to come by and to tell him it's okay for him to do that? Can you imagine Benjamin Franklin being prohibited from engaging in some of his inventions because he didn't have the proper occupational license? Can you imagine George Washington waiting for permission to buy into a company from the SEC? These are people who revolted over a tax on tea. They would never tolerate this.
That's what I wanted to go back to, is like, what was the founding of the country? The founding of this country was a big, gigantic middle finger to government.
Yeah.
And all of the documents describe limits on government, not the bonds between citizen to citizen based on shared obligation to be managed by the government.
I'll use that terrible sexist term. Our founding fathers had a vision. It was a vision of limited government. It was a vision of individual rights. We would be bound together by the fact that we had individual rights that could not be transgressed either by other people or by the government. And the government that Barack Obama and his allies describe is one of incessant meddling in people's private affairs, their private lives, their private business, and in the economy as a whole. And it is dangerous both for our freedoms and for our well-being.
All right, yes, love, mutual obligation, patriotism. That's where we're heading. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today. I've got too much love in my heart for you guys. For Terry and Doug, I'm Alan Barton, and you've been watching Front Page.